It was just after 7 p.m. on October 21st, 1978, when a 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentich made his final radio call. It's not an aircraft. It is hovering. It's not an aircraft. His plane, a Cessna 182L, was flying over Bass Strait, the body of water between mainland Australia and Tasmania. He was alone. The skies were calm. The flight was routine until it wasn't. The transmission ended. No wreckage was ever found. No trace of Frederick Valentich was ever recovered. This is the Midnight Mystery Archive. I'm Kevin, and tonight we investigate one of the most enduring aviation mysteries of the modern era: the disappearance of Frederick Valentich and the chilling recording that still echoes through the skies of southern Australia. Frederick Valentich was just 20 years old when he took off from Moorabbin Airport near Melbourne, Australia on the evening of October 21st, 1978. He was flying a Cessna 182L, a light aircraft with a single propeller. His destination? King Island, a small remote airstrip off the coast. It was a training flight. He had 150 flight hours under his belt, not a seasoned aviator, but far from a novice. Frederick was described by friends and family as quiet, focused, and deeply interested in aviation. He had dreams of becoming a commercial pilot. He studied flight obsessively. He was also fascinated by UFOs. In the weeks before his disappearance, he had read extensively about unexplained aerial phenomena and told others he believed the government was covering things up. Valentich filed a legitimate flight plan. He told the control tower he'd be flying to King Island to pick up a few friends and grab some seafood. But later, investigators confirmed there were no friends waiting, no reservation, and no clear reason to make that trip that night. Even more odd, he left at dusk, just as light was fading. It certainly wasn't illegal, but it was unusual. At 7:06 p.m., Valentich radioed in from over Cape Otway. He reported seeing a large aircraft with 4 bright lights hovering above him. It seems to be playing some sort of game, flying over me 2-3 times at speeds I cannot identify. Air traffic control told him no other aircraft were scheduled to be in the area. It's not an aircraft. Then, 17 seconds of open microphone static. Some say it sounds like metal scraping, others like engine interference. Then, silence. The next morning, a full-scale search began. Land, sea, and air. No plane, no body, no debris. Only the radio recording remained. And with it, one of the strangest vanishings in aviation history. Coming up, the search and the skeptics and the sky itself. October 22nd, 1978. Just hours after Frederick Valentich's final radio transmission, the Australian Search and Rescue Coordination Center launched a full-scale search. For 4 days, planes, boats, and helicopters scoured over 1,000 square miles of land and sea between Cape Otway and King Island. They found nothing. Not a single trace of the aircraft, no oil slick, no debris, No floating items, not even a seat cushion or a flight bag. A Cessna 182 doesn't disintegrate on impact. Even in a crash, parts would float. And yet, nothing surfaced. One of the first official theories was spatial disorientation, that Frederick had gotten confused flying at dusk, saw his own reflection or celestial lights, and spiraled into the sea. But that doesn't explain the 17-second open mic static, nor his calm, detailed descriptions of the aircraft hovering then flying circles above him. He also had over 150 logged flight hours. He wasn't a rookie. Another theory, Valentich staged his own disappearance, that he landed the plane elsewhere or ditched it to start a new life. But Frederick left behind no money, no passport, no planning, no evidence of any sort. He was close with his family, he had no criminal ties, and he had just applied to the Royal Australian Air Force. There was no motive to stage his own disappearance and no evidence to support it. Some skeptics suggest he was flying upside down, saw the reflection of lights on the water, panicked, and crashed. But flight experts say a Cessna 182L can't maintain inverted flight for more than 15 seconds without losing altitude or control. And again, no crash site, no remains. And then there's the theory that just won't go away, that Frederick encountered something not of this world. He reported a metallic, fast-moving object, that the object had no identifiable engine or wings, that it hovered and then vanished. In his final words, "It's hovering, and it's not an aircraft." He sounded calm, not hallucinating, not irrational, just confused. And then the transmission ends. The Australian Department of Transport released a report. It concluded only that the reason for the disappearance was unknown. No mechanical failure was confirmed, no sign of a hoax. Frederick's father, Guido Valentich, remained adamant. He was taken. He told me before this happened that if UFOs were real, they'd be near the Bass Strait, and that's where he went. It's now been over 45 years. Still no wreckage, still no closure, but the tape, it still exists. And for some, it's the closest thing to proof that something happened out there. Something that wasn't supposed to happen by something that's not supposed to exist. Coming up, the cultural fallout, how the Valentich mystery became more than an aviation story and turned into a modern legend. After the search was called off, there was no closure, only theories. For Frederick's family, especially his father Guido, the silence was unbearable. Guido was convinced from the beginning his son had not crashed. He had been taken. Guido Valentich made dozens of media appearances, gave interviews, and urged the Australian government to release the full audio of his son's final moments. He became a soft-spoken advocate, not for conspiracy, but for acknowledgement. If he died in a crash, fine, but show me the wreckage, show me something. He died in 2000, never having received an answer. Meanwhile, Frederick's case exploded in UFO circles. His radio transmission was reprinted in newspapers from Melbourne to Montreal. In the US, it became a staple of late-night radio. In Europe, his name was cited in aviation anomaly studies. The case became fuel for a fire already spreading, the 1970s UFO wave. Australia had just experienced the Westall School incident in 1966. U.S. airspace had seen a surge in UFO reports post-Roswell. The Valentich tape became part of a canon of unexplained encounters. Multiple reports of strange lights were made on the same night of Frederick's disappearance, from fishermen, farmers, and one commercial airline pilot flying south of Melbourne. But those accounts were minimized or dismissed in official summaries. It wouldn't be until decades later that the Australian government would quietly declassify its own internal UFO documents, which confirmed there were numerous reports of unexplained aerial phenomena logged across the Bass Strait for years. For years, the full audio of Valentich's transmission was classified. Only partial transcripts were released. When the full audio was eventually made public, it revealed multiple exchanges where Frederick described not just lights, but a green glow, circular movement, and a sense that the object was deliberately engaging with him. Some believed the audio was altered. Others believed it had been edited for clarity. But what remained was chilling. It's not an aircraft. It's hovering and it's playing with me. The Valentich case prompted minor changes in Australian air traffic communication protocols, including more thorough pre-flight passenger verification and enhanced nighttime tracking requests. But officially, the incident remains unsolved, and no further investigation has been authorized. Frederick Valentich left behind no wreckage, no confession or intent of his wanting to leave, no hint of a final destination. Only a voice, a signal, and the chilling possibility that something was waiting above the Bass Strait that night, and it wasn't something of this world. Coming up, we examine the way this case has been portrayed in many different media outlets and how the world has tried to explain the unexplainable. There are mysteries that live in static. In the moment a transmission breaks off, in the silence after a voice says something the world isn't ready to hear. Frederick Valentich's final moments aren't just lines on a flight log. They're an echo, still bouncing over the Bass Strait. Frederick wasn't reckless. He wasn't foolish. He was young, 20 years old, and had hopes of flying commercial aircraft, of building a life in the skies. But he knew what he was doing. And in the final minutes of his life, whatever happened, he was composed, he was focused, not frantic. He knew what he saw, even if we still don't. Theories abound. Skeptics point to disorientation. Others insist on a staged escape. But those who knew Frederick, his family, his instructors, and even the air traffic controller who spoke to him that night, describe a clear-headed pilot who believed something was out there. Not something imagined, something seen. It's not an aircraft. There's something deeply unsettling about unsolved aviation cases. Planes are designed to be tracked, recovered, and investigated. When a plane vanishes without a trace, it pushes against our trust in technology, in logic, and frankly in gravity itself. We want closure, but sometimes the sky just doesn't give it. Some stories fade, others evolve, and a few, like the disappearance of Frederick Valentich, grow louder as the decades pass, shaped by authors, filmmakers, journalists, and anyone still looking up at the sky. The Valentich case has become a regular feature on late-night paranormal radio. Shows like Coast to Coast AM played clips of his transmission to millions of listeners. He was framed as calm, credible, a pilot who saw a UFO and vanished, a modern aviation martyr. For many believers, it became the smoking gun. Audio proof that someone encountered something and was silenced by it. Over the years, several books have examined or fictionalized the Valentich story. Among them, Valentich, Disappearance at 2,000 Feet by John Pinkney, UFOs in Government by Michael Swords and Robert Powell, Above Top Secret by Timothy Good. Most portrayed Frederick as a sincere, rational witness. Some suggest government complicity or military testing gone wrong. A few go further, suggesting alien abduction narratives, but those are rarely grounded in verifiable evidence. Television, too, has kept the story alive, often with conflicting angles. Unsolved Mysteries in the U.S. had a brief mention of the case. 60 Minutes Australia in 2013 explored the official theory of disorientation, but couldn't explain the missing wreckage. Ancient Aliens connected the case to global disappearance patterns and admittedly took liberties. Some shows leaned into the unexplained. Others pushed the idea that Frederick was hallucinating, faking, or simply unqualified to fly. But the facts haven't changed. He filed a flight plan. He described something unknown, and he never came home. In the last decade, podcasts have reintroduced the case to new audiences, just like this one. From astonishing legends to stuff they don't want you to know about, Frederick's name appears alongside other aviation vanishings, like Amelia Earhart, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, and the Bermuda Triangle cases. His voice, captured in that haunting radio exchange, has become a soundbite of disbelief, repeated on forums, YouTube videos, and even TikToks. It's not an aircraft. Every retelling adds a layer, some factual, some speculative, some theatrical. But at the core of it all is a 20-year-old pilot flying alone over the sea, reporting something that no one could explain. The Valentich disappearance is more than a mystery. It's a mirror, reflecting what we believe about the unexplained, the limits of investigation, and how stories evolve in the absence of answers. Thanks for listening. This is the Midnight Mystery Archive. I'm Kevin. Until next time, remember, the transmission is still out there. You can listen for yourself. But no matter how many times you play it back, it never ends with a landing. You've been listening to the Midnight Mystery Archive. Every week, 2 stories, 2 episodes, 2 enduring mysteries. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Like, follow, and share. Until next time.